On this week's City Skylines 2 o'clock, the end of the beginning of the end, smile and roll camera, and disunity at unity. All this with this week's special guest, the ever popular Shawn Builds.
Oh, me popular. How's it hanging, guys? Nice to be here.
Ah, you're so popular. I've seen the queue of girlies outside waiting for your autograph.
Don't tell them I got a wife, all right?
I won't tell them anything. Just send them my way. Anyway, last week, the early access videos released too late to be discussed on this show. So this is our first official chance to actually talk about that. And also this week we had the first official stream with Maddie, and I believe her name's Pretty or Pruty. I don't know. I'm sorry. You're lovely. But anyway, I caught some of that while at work. I'm hoping you did. What were your general takeaways from all of the streams that we had this week?
Well, I'd say more questions than answers. There's a lot of things that seemed like it was a beta build, and the lack of communication on that kind of left us wondering as to what the final game would look like. But otherwise, there was a lot of great stuff shown, and a lot of the mechanics of the game were kind of pushed, and I was extremely happy to see that.
Oh yeah, I'm totally with you. There was, like I say, a lot we picked up on. I may have a video out at the moment. Hi guys, go watch my video that covered a lot of that. I think it was definitely well worth sitting through at least some of them. And really good to see the official Skylines team actually having a play as well. So anyway, we had our 13th and final dev diary and dev insights this week. This week was the cinematic camera and photo mode, so no new gameplay stuff, but there are definitely some new great toys for us to play with, such as changing the weather, the season and the time of day, and the camera along with all of its settings. They're far, far deeper than we ever had in vanilla City Skylines. So let's start with that photo mode. Heaps of options, and just as an example, for those people that have not seen it, there are 13 different custom settings available for just the Z or the Z offset of clouds, which I think probably means depth. And these include such things as erosion factor, powder effect intensity, and shadows opacity. So plenty of stuff to learn, play about with, and just get stuck in with. But what were your thoughts on the new photo mode, and what is Z or Z offset?
Right, so you normally have X, Y, Z. You'll have a horizontal or vertical, and then imagine if you was driving in a car and going forward, that could be your Y or your Z depending on how you look at your axes. But that's pretty much what that is.
So yeah, what were your thoughts on the photo mode?
Well, I would have to say that I'm extremely jealous and wish I had that in my own editing software. It was very cool. I'm extremely excited to see how far people can push that. But I am also kind of concerned about how it'll affect the game as well. So
well, fortunately you put that in there because, as fun and as interesting as things are, it's rare that an Insights video actually answers any of my outstanding questions. This week, it did. Something that I questioned actually in Monday's live stream on this channel. I asked, when we change things in photo mode, is it purely aesthetic or can it directly affect the simulation? And the answer was actually on screen for 4 short seconds. That answer was: changing environment properties such as time of day or cloudiness may affect the simulation. So my question is, do you think there are any other ways they could have handled this? Or is it too complex a simulation to have such a thing as a rewind button?
I definitely don't think it's too complex to have a rewind button. I think as in-depth of all this stuff is, I definitely think that they should have had something like that. But yeah, it's definitely a bit concerning. So you'll probably have to, stop, save your city, and restart. That's probably what's going to have to happen before you do your cinematic. If you have certain things in your city that you want to keep, you don't want certain people to move out, whatever have you.
Yeah, no, that seems to make a lot of sense. Obviously, for a screenshot, we could just pause the simulation and Because what we're thinking there, of course, is with like with weather settings or with time of day settings. So let's say you've got your character that you're wanting to do a cinematic of, and he's heading to work, but you think it would look much nicer for your cinematics with a sunset. If you change the cinematics to sunset settings, the time of day is now in the evening. So there are some issues. So again, it's early, we're speculating, but I would suggest, listen guys are watching, if you're going to want to do cinematics and play about with the environment settings, save the game first, do your cinematics, then reload that save and carry on as if nothing had ever happened. That would be my thought there.
Amen.
Anyway, a cinematic camera does look way cool, especially when compared to the clunky modded cameras that we had in Cities Skylines 1. It isn't just a YouTuber's dream, but pretty much anyone who's made an impressive city will definitely want a part of that. Were there any very specific parts of the cinematic camera which caught your attention?
First of all, like, I wasn't even expecting to have keyframe availability. You know, I thought that was and the way they've implemented it seems very intuitive, very user friendly. I like that a lot, and I'm almost upset that I can't just fully edit my video in there. You know what I mean? I have to go through and get these cinematics and then put them into my editing software, and then I go back and forth. But that's so worth it, because look at the quality you're getting.
Yeah.
Even with, you know, some of the simulation style of things being a little off, a little weird, you just make sure you save your game. You should be okay. But that being said, I think it is head and shoulders above its predecessor camera mode, 100%.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's such a depth in this, and I'm hoping that the actual main game has enough depth to mean this isn't just a cinematic camera for recording something. Because I think there have been, as we alluded to earlier, there have been a lot of worrying questions with the beta, and I was saying off camera to you a few minutes ago, I think there's a lot of beta footage that maybe we shouldn't have been shown, because while we know that the game will be a little bit buggy when released, because that's normal for any game, there are some things that, yeah, they've got plenty of time still to sort a lot of them out, but I think there might be some issues in there that will take a good chunk of time extra. But then you get something that looks like the best cinematic camera we could hope for, including all the photo modes that can be used in cinematic camera. I am really excited to get my hands on this.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited too. I mean, the thing is, you know, I do wish that they would have put as much detail they put into this camera thing into everything else. And some of the things they did, like for the way, like the waste and the water and the garbage, and they all kind of go hand in hand and flow. And if you look at some of the resource deposits, there's numerous, and they'll be depleting over time, and that's a whole new style of gameplay. There's a lot of stuff they've really done. A lot of the buildings, the scaling, you know. But, for example, if they would have put the amount of detail they put in the camera mode into, let's say, the grime and filth and lived-in feel of the city, graffiti and stuff like that, spawning graffiti or dirt or trash and stuff like that, almost like we seen in the very first trailer, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That right there would have, like, as much as the camera mode sold me, that would have sold me even more if they would have put that same level of detail in.
Oh, man, yeah. This is it. This is just the thing. But I'm sure we can talk more on depth on that kind of aspect in a later show. We're going to have a few weeks where there might be less to talk about. Now there are no dev diaries, and yeah, we can talk about wish lists and grumbles. We'll save that. Right, okay, so let's get away a little bit directly from Cities Skylines and more onto something that is very, very related to Cities Skylines. So in tech news this week, the people at Unity have changed their business model, and it has caused a great deal of concern amongst software developers. As best as I understand it, there's a new fee for every single download for games developers generating good revenue from the software. The problem is that it isn't for new sales, but per download. And that includes older titles such as Cities Skylines. So, for example, Cities Skylines 2 comes out. I uninstall the old game from my desktop and start on the new one. But then 3 months later, I need some footage for a video from Cities Skylines 1. So I reinstall Cities Skylines 1 just for this particular project, and Colossal Order get charged by Unity for that download. Now, this is something that could break some developers. What if, for example, an old game which was developed just for fun and released for free because it was a small game, it was way back, and let's say it got just 20 downloads. Suddenly that goes viral. That small developer might have to pull the title or go bankrupt. Reading from Eurogamer, Unity has clarified that the changes are not retrospective or perpetual, noting it will only charge once for an install made after the 1st of January 2024. However, it won't be charging for previously made installs. Fees do indeed apply to all games currently on the market, meaning should any existing player of an older game that exceeds Unity's various thresholds decide to reinstall it after the 1st of January, a charge will still be made. Unity has also failed to shed much light on how it plans to prevent fees being applied to pirated games, or instances where excess installs might be carried out maliciously. Now, as we know, both Cities Skylines and Cities Skylines 2 are built on the Unity engine, and we know there are way too many freeloaders out there who are just pirating for fun. So how much do we think this is going to cost Colossal Order? Is it going to be a drain? Is it a problem for Colossal Order? Is it a problem for Paradox? I'm not entirely sure. What are your thoughts on this one, Shawn?
Oh, well, I kind of got a lot to say on this one, if you don't mind me going on a little bit of a rant here.
Please do. Yeah.
So look, this is a death knell, a death toll for, if you ever read the book For Whom the Bell Tolls, you will know the bell tolls for a lot of small developers now.
Yeah.
They're dead in the water. Some people that come to mind are like Washbear Studios. Washbear Studios created a game called Parkosaurus that I was, fortunate enough to be part of an early release with. And this game, quite a few hundreds of thousands of downloads, but they're a very small indie developer trying to make it big. They're putting up great content. Now they might struggle to break even, and I will tell you why. And also Kiss games like, I'm not sure if the Only Up was made. It's a very popular game now. A version of, it's a 3D version of a very hard game called Getting Over It. And it's a very indie game that was made by one person who used other assets, I think from Unity. It might be an Unreal Engine, but just imagine it's from Unity. That person, you will never see games like that coming from Unity anymore because nobody will be willing to go bankrupt just to make a game for fun. So that being said, let me break this a little bit down for you. So if you have 200K downloads or make $200,000 in revenue, you will have to pay 15 cents per download, which if you make 200K, that'll be about 40. If you make 200K downloads, that'll be about $40,000 you'd have to give to Unity. Okay, and that's on top of, if your game's on Steam, Steam takes 30%. Let's say you have a game that's free with microtransactions. Okay, Steam takes 30%. Now you're, for every 200K downloads, you have to pay Unity $40,000, and then you have your taxes you have to pay. Now you have been taxed 5 ways from Sunday, and you might be making $30,000 to $40,000. And if you have a team to pay, that's one salary.
Yeah.
That's one salary, and that's for studios who are large enough to have a studio. That's not a collection of guys working, across the country on their computers together making a game. This is like a brick and mortar place that they come together every weekend and they make this game, or every week, and they have they have people to pay, and they have staff, and they have rent, and this is just very, very, very greedy from Unity. Very, very greedy from Unity. And, some of the people who created Unity, the developers there, have made some other games in the past. And in the more recent years, they've been trending as more and more gritty, very Activision-esque, and it's sort of depressing, but it is absolutely the end of an era for mobile games, for independent games. As far as Unity goes, what they're doing is they're opening up a window for a huge competitor who has been developing their engine in secret for a while, or maybe somebody wants to just hop on there. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk wants to make his own, game engine. He wants to take over the gaming industry. He has an opening to do so now because you can make everything free. You don't have to. Everybody here is my platform. I'm a billionaire. I don't need the money. Maybe we'll get kickbacks through partnerships or collaborations or something like that. But here you go. Maybe you can buy our assets and we'll make money from that. And that's the end of it. And Unity will slowly fade if they don't change their business model back or something, more, I guess, indie dev friendly. It's a wrap for them. They will fade into obscurity, and Unreal Engine or some other unknown entity that's yet to sprout up will take over. That's 100% a fact. You're hearing it from me right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the games development world. I'm just a gamer, much like most of us here. But of course, people have to run a business. And if you're making a games engine, which I'm guessing costs something for the end user to use, I don't suspect it's free to use. If it's free to use, then I mean, how did the developers of Unity actually make any money from it? And so having this again, I can understand it in general. So where you have, as they're saying in the release there, where you've got a games company that's making a large amount of money already from it, then you can tax them a little bit per download. I get that, and then definitely they're not doing this fee for the small guys. But there's going to be obviously there's always the grey area. But things like with the pirating. That pirating has always been a problem, but up until now, pirating has been, well, that's no revenue for Colossal Order, for this game. Rather than buy it, you took it for free, but by downloading it, that is now going to be taxing Colossal Order for this pirated game that they've created and you've taken for free, and they're having to pay their 15 cents on, and 15 cents isn't much, but if 1 million people have pirated the game, that is 1 million lots of 15 cents. Now, again, that might not be the big bucks, but I don't want to pay 1 million lots of 15 cents.
Well, what if you're a developer just slightly smaller than Colossal Order, and you're still making enough money to have that brick and mortar store? This immediately cuts your revenue almost in half, because you got to think, you got to factor in like taxes, and if your game's on Steam and whatever else other platforms out there might charge you. And then on top of that, you're like that margin of error, 15 cents per download, could have been the money that was going into their bank account. Now they're breaking even.
Yeah. So it doesn't sound much. The industry that I'm in, the profit margins are quite high, but the actual revenues are really low. So you've actually got to, in the industry that I'm in confectionery, you've got to do, this is why you need to sell a lot of confectionery. You sell one Lamborghini, you're fine. You sell one Twinkie bar, you need a queue of people buying Twinkie bars. Mm-hmm. And so these 15 cents individually, not necessarily, doesn't sound much. I mean, 15 cents, it'll buy you, I don't know, will it buy you an apple? I don't even think it'll buy you an apple. But when you're talking about large quantities of these, it's, if nothing else, it might push the price of games up even higher.
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what's going to happen. And they're also forcing people with pirating. They're forcing developers to police their games, which there's no way you can do that. You can't. As soon as one pirate software gets taken down, another one springs up in its place. They're waiting. You know what I mean? It's the same way with pirating movies online, everything like that. As soon as one gets taken down, another one takes its place. Like it's greedy. It's just greedy. And for any middle of the road game developer, it's a death toll.
Oh man, yeah. This is it's worrying times for this course. This is just Unity. There are other software options available, games built on other things, but of course this is a Cities Skylines channel, your Cities Skylines channel, so we're talking Cities Skylines and we're talking Unity. Right, yeah. So anyway, well, getting towards the end of the show now, so I think we should talk about me and you. Shall we be self-centered for a few minutes?
Yes, let's do that. Ego. Yeah.
So I've got a new video coming out. It's my version on the early access. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Yeah, I am inordinately proud of it. I didn't get the early access, which is a little bit surprising, but you know what? I'm still very proud to be independent and not behest to any of the big guys having to say the right things to make sure I get early access next time.
That's right.
So there's all that. So yeah, it's 60 things that you might have missed in early access. Anyway, it's linked in the end screen. Please go check that out. And at the time of recording this, it looks like there'll be a very exciting chart show first this week. I mean, I've done 270 something chart shows now, one a week for years, and this one is probably the most exciting one as far as I'm concerned. Again, Sunday morning that will be up. Please go and watch it. And of course the like button, always the like button, never forget the like button. In fact, the like button for this video too. Do I have to remind you of everything? Anyways, do you have anything cooking up on your channel?
Oh, I'm currently making a compilation of all the Dev Diary Insight videos and trailers, and then this weekend, Sunday, I'm not sure, secret upload time, can't tell you, but Sunday, there will be another Cities Skylines 2.5 podcast featuring a creator known as Red Kool-Aid, who makes some really funny content, and I'm excited to interview him.
Red Kool-Aid, my favourite sort of Kool-Aid. Apart from the orange Kool-Aid is probably, yeah. And the green one's quite good as well, yeah.
It is,
and the blue and the purple. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Mix them all together.
Get out of town, Red Kool-Aid. We don't want you anymore. I'm just joking. Anyway, that's it from us. So thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. Thank you very much, Shawn Builds.
Exactly. I love you guys. We'll see
you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.